Hello，大家晚上好。看到这一幅画，大家应该都很熟悉，对不对？这是梵高的自画像。我也是今天才知道，梵高是130年前的今天出生的。我真的觉得梵高有燃烧的灵魂。到了100多年后的今天，他的画作都还在感染着很多人。虽然我没有什么艺术天分，但是真的很喜欢他的画。现在我的窗外正下着雨，我觉得特别适合读一些东西。然后今天也很碰巧，早上有朋友给我发了梵高以前写给他弟弟跳的一段话，我可以给大家念一下，找一下手机。好，是这样说的：亲爱的跳，你想过100年后的世界是什么样的吗？不知道那个时候阿尔勒的酒馆晚上还会不会有醉汉？普罗旺斯的烈日是否还会洒满金色的麦田？还会不会有人记得布里那日像烟囱一样的矿工？你说100年以后人们还会记得我吗？这是他1889年写给自己弟弟跳心当中的一幅画。当时他对自己的命运也很存疑，也很不确定，很迷茫，写下了很多东西，害怕别人记不住他，害怕他的画作不被别人知道。那我们也看到了，其实100年以后，大家仍然在为他的画作而感动。今天外面下雨，我觉得好舒服呀。我在我的床上躺着，然后想要读一点 Kindle， 跟大家分享一下，能够帮助大家很好的入睡。好吧，那我们就开始啦。这是第一段。A fanatic heart. Theo imagined the worst. The message said only that Vincent had wounded himself. As Theo rushed to the station to catch the next train to office, his mind raced both backward and forward. The last time he received a dire message like this one, it was a telegram from Paul Gauguin informing him that Vincent was gravely ill. Theo had arrived in the southern city of Orleans to find his brother in the fever ward of a hospital. His head swathed in bandages and his mind completely unmoored. Let's see. Okay, the next page. What would he find at the end of this train ride? At times like these, and here there had been many of them, Theo's mind wandered to the Vincent he had known once, an older brother of passion and restless, but also of boisterous jokes, infinite sympathy, and indefatigable warmth. On their childhood hikes in the fields and the woods around the Dutch town of Zundert, where they were born, Vincent had introduced him to the beauties and mysteries of nature. In the winter, Vincent tutored him in skating and sledding. In summer, he showed him how to build castles in the sandy paths. In church on Sundays and at home by the parlor piano, he sung with a clear, confident voice. In the attic room that they shared, he talked until late at night, inspiring his younger brother a bond that their siblings teasingly called worship. But Theo proudly acknowledged, even decades later, as adoration. This was the Vincent that Theo had grown up with, adventurous guide, inspiration as gold, encyclopedic enthusiast, droll critic, playful companion, transfixing eye. How would this Vincent, his Vincent, have turned into such a tormented soul? Theo thought he knew the answer. Vincent was the victim of his own fanatic heart. There is something in the way he talks that makes people either love him or hate him. He tried to explain. He spares nothing and no one. Long after others had put away the breathless manias of youth, Vincent still lived by their unsparing rules. Titanic, unpeaceful passions swept through his life. I am a fanatic, Vincent declared in 1881. I feel a power within me, a fire that I may not quench, but must keep ablaze. Whether catching beetles on the Saundered Creek bank, collecting and cataloging prints, preaching the Christian gospel, consuming Shakespeare or Balzac in great fevers of reading, or mastering the interactions of color, he did everything with the urgent, blinding single-mindedness of a child. He even read the newspaper in a fury. These storms of zeal had transformed a boy of inexplicable fierceness into a wayward, battered soul, a stranger in the world, an exile in his own family, and an enemy to himself. No one knew better than Theo, who had followed his brother's tortured path through almost 1,000 letters, the unbending demands that Vincent placed on himself and others, and the unending problems he reaped as a consequence. No one understood better the price Vincent paid in loneliness and disappointment for his self-defeating. Take no prisoners' assaults on life, and no one knew better the futility of warning him against himself. I get very cross when people tell me that it is dangerous to put out to sea, Vincent told Theo once when he tried to intervene. There is safety in the very heart of danger. How could anybody be surprised that such a fanatic heart produced such a fanatic heart? Theo had heard the whispers and rumors about his brothers. C'est un fou, they said, even before the events in Arles 18 months earlier, before the stints in hospitals and asylums. People dismissed Vincent's art as the work of a madman. One critic described its distorted forms and shocking colors as the product of a sick mind. Theo himself had spent years trying, unsuccessfully, to tame the excesses of his brother's brush. If only he would use less paint. Love slathered it on so thickly. If only he would slow down. not slash out so many works so quickly. I have sometimes worked excessively fast, Vincent countered defiantly. Is it a fault? I can't help it. Collectors wanted care and finish. Theo told him again and again, not endless, furious, convulsive studies, what Vincent called pictures full of painting. With every lurch of the train that bore him to the scene of the latest catastrophe, Theo could hear the years of scorn and ridicule. For a long time, out of family pride or fraternal affection, Theo had resisted the accusations of madness. Vincent was merely an exceptional person, a quixote-like tutor at windmills, a noble eccentric, perhaps, not a madman. But the events in Ireland had changed all that. Many painters have gone insane yet, nevertheless started to produce true art. Theo wrote afterward, genius roams along such mysterious paths, and no one had roamed a more mysterious path than Vincent, a brave third start as an art dealer, a misbegotten attempt to enter the clergy, a wandering evangelical mission, a foray into magazine illustration, and finally a blazingly short career as a painter